You know how you leave the tea bag in sometimes to really let it soak in and get all the goodness, all those antioxidants, all the goodness of the tea. Let's do that as we come into these verses and seek to store them up in our hearts. They are very precious verses. I would highly recommend that you memorize these verses, maybe at least 15 and 16. What wonderful verses they are. They begin with the word therefore, and we have to ask, well, what is therefore? Therefore, well, it usually takes us back to something previous, and it does take us back to what comes before, and a whole section beginning in chapter 2, the end of chapter 2, on how Jesus is our priest, our great high priest, and a priest is someone who represents you before God. Chapter 3, verse 1, he's both the apostle whom God sent to us, but he's also the one by whom we come to God. God comes to us through Jesus. We come to him through Jesus. He is the great mediator, the great priest. But the wonderful thing about this, therefore, in verse 14, is that it is followed by a since. And that means that kind of encapsulates or summarizes all that he's kind of just said. So we don't have to reach back too far. We can just go with what follows. Since we have a great high priest who has ascended into heaven, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold firmly to the faith we profess, to our confidence in Jesus, our conviction about the Lord Jesus Christ. And many times in Hebrews, Jesus is called a priest. Like I said, he's the one who represents us. He's the only one who can bring us to God. We don't need a human priest. Sometimes people come here, they call me father, or they call me the priest. I don't always correct them. But many times I have, look, I'm not a priest. You don't need me to get to God. You need Jesus to get to God. He is our great high priest. We don't need priests. He is not only the priest, he's the high priest, he's the great high priest. And when we say Jesus is great, we don't mean he's great like pizza is great or like turkey is great. We mean he's great like God is great, the great and awesome God. And Hebrews has shown this to us so clearly that Jesus is as great as that. He is as great as God himself.